thank you for coming back to my channel. I know I have not been updating a whole lot. For those of you who have PCOS, you do know that there's not really much to update when your body is not really doing much. So just a little recap of what's been going on. I think from what I can remember from the top of my head, I have had 4 ultrasounds in under like 2 months. All because of a cyst. So let's go back to I believe it was pre-New Year's. They did check me on cycle day 3 to go ahead and check if I can go ahead and start Femera. When they checked me, they did go ahead and find out that I did have a cyst on my left ovary. For those of you who have me on Instagram, you are aware that my right ovary didn't have anything. So my left ovary was the only one that was giving me a problem. And from what I remember with my daughter, she was conceived from my right ovary. So we kind of know that that's the winning one. But I did have a cyst on my ovary, and like I said, for those of you who are on my Instagram, you kind of know the measurements because I did post it on there. For those of you who are not on my Instagram, definitely follow me on there. I do kind of post on real time there, of course on real time, but I do post a little bit more on there about what's going on. So backtrack to that cycle day 3, they did start me on birth control. The birth control I was on was called like Sky E or something like that. I didn't really feel symptoms on it. Very mild gas issues or gastro issues. Very mild on that for the first 2 weeks, and then I had my second ultrasound to see the growth or like, you know, diminishing of the cyst. So it did start on a 38, I believe she said, and when I got it checked again 2 weeks later, it was at a 28. So she did go ahead and say that it was a non-hormonal cyst. I'm so sorry, my hair is crazy. She did go ahead and say that it was a non-hormonal cyst, and she prescribed me Femera. She said that on day 3 of my cycle, after stopping birth control, once I started my cycle, I would have to call them, let them know, you know, hey, I started my period, and then start Femera on day 3. My cycle didn't come, I believe it was on, she did the ultrasound on the 9th, so on the 10th and the 11th, my period did not start, but I did start getting really bad pains. They started on the 10th and continued on towards the 11th. On the 11th, that morning, I had really, really bad pains to the point where I was like bent over. It felt in the middle, like the pain was in the middle, but when I would bend, it would feel more on the left side. So that led me to believe that it was the cyst that was causing these issues. So I went ahead and went in, they did check me, and of course the cyst did go get a little bigger. It went from being 28 to I believe 30. So it did get bigger. So she started me on birth control again because she said that it was only going to get bigger and Femera would probably make it hurt. That I went ahead and took the birth control for like maybe 3 days, I want to say. I know it was less than a week, but I took the birth control and it was not going that great. The pain that I had prior from the 2 previous weeks on it, and the gastro issues, was no longer mild. It was very painful. So I wasn't having like cramping or anything because of the cyst, but at that point I was already having cramping because of my like other issues on the birth control, and that always happens on birth control pills. For me, at least, I always have stomach issues. Like food just doesn't settle and things like that. But I did go in today and they checked the cyst, and it is at an 18. So it did decrease a lot. So they went ahead and gave me the okay to take Femera. They checked my blood work. They saw progesterone. I'm sorry, distractions. They did go ahead and check my blood work. They saw progesterone was low, and that I'm sorry, the progesterone showed that I did not ovulate and that my HSG was low at a 0. So shows that I'm not pregnant and I did not ovulate, because normally you have a dip in progesterone when you're about to start your period, showing that you ovulated, but I didn't. So they went ahead and said that I can start Femera today, which I'm on cycle day 25, which is a little strange because it's a short cycle and, you know, it's just weird. But they are the experts on this. So I do have the letrozole 2.5 mg. So that's that for 2.5 mg, taking it twice a day. Well, 2 pills at one time, once a day. So I'm taking them at night just to see if I do have any reaction. It happens at night. I do take losartan for my blood pressure, so I do know that once I get a positive result, they are going to go ahead and take me off of that. For those of you who have not seen my previous videos, I have suffered 3 losses and 1 successful pregnancy. However, I did not reach full term with that pregnancy. I did have to have my daughter a whole month early due to blood pressure issues. So overall, this is something that's very scary. At the same time, we have been ready for a long time. And I don't want to cry because there's so many women that have been through so much worse, and I don't want to victimize our situation. Our situation has become a norm. A lot of people go through this, and we have been going through it for, my daughter's 6, so 4 years. She's gonna be 7, so 5 years. But PCOS is so confusing. It all is. It all really is. And no matter how much threads you read and how much vlogs you watch and how much, you know, ways you inform yourself, at the end of the day, you're just as out of control as everybody else. So I am asking for prayers. Just keep us in your thoughts that this first round of Femera works. But if it doesn't, there is always another cycle, and at the end of the day, I am lucky and fortunate enough to have infertility coverage. But I am going to be doing ovulation test starting on cycle day, I believe it is 5, because it's the last day that I'm on Femera. So cycle day 5, I will start ovulation tracking. Hopefully by cycle day 9 I will ovulate, which we're hoping. But on the I believe it's the 26th, I have another ultrasound for them to check the follicles to see if I reacted well to the Femera, to see if I was over stimulated or anything like that. For those of you who have done Femera or Clomid or Overdrill or anything like that, are aware that multiples are very high when it comes to fertility medication. I mean, they jump up from anywhere from 30% to 50%. So we are trying to avoid multiples, so my doctor does want to keep a close eye on my follicles just to make sure that I don't overstimulate, and we're looking at just 1 follicle. Only because like I said, the losses and my daughter being born early We just don't want to risk my health as well as any baby or baby's health. So we are monitoring that closely. If you have any questions or anything like that, you can always message me on Instagram. My Instagram is, let me pop it up for you guys. I always forget because I have my personal and then I have my other one. So, let's see here. So for those of you who are not on it, it is going to be this one. It's called Texas Southern Belle Glam. It is the same as my YouTube. That's where I post, you know, on basically time feeds of what's going on. You got pictures of my cyst, which is always fun to see. But yeah, you can follow me on there and kind of get on time on what's going on, and you don't have to wait for a video. I am going to be doing another video called Cycle, or first round of Femera, day 1 through 5, because that's what I have. I have 10 pills, 5 days, and it's going to be jam-packed with symptoms and things that were going on. So expect that video on day 5 or day 6, because day 5 is, yeah, definitely day 6. So expect that video out on day 6. And if you are not following me already, definitely click the subscribe button so you guys can be more up to date on this journey. And hopefully soon I can make a video introducing my husband and another one introducing my daughter. But yeah, definitely subscribe and go follow me on Instagram. So I will see you guys another day, and have a great rest of your week. Bye.